That night, I made my decision. If I didn't find the truth, I was going to lose my mind, so while he was asleep on the couch after a long movie night, I leaned closer and gently took one strand of hair from his head. The next morning, I sent it to a lab for DNA testing. My heart hasn't stopped racing since. Every second after sending the DNA test felt like a lifetime. Every vibration from my phone made my heart jump, but the results didn't come. Not that day, not the next. In that waiting, my mind started eating itself alive. I even started avoiding my husband. One morning while he was shaving, I asked him if he ever thought about our son Chris. He froze, before pretending not to hear me. Then he said that I need to stop this, that it's been 17 years and our son was gone forever. I started seeing signs everywhere. I'd make breakfast and realize Jemmy liked his eggs the exact same way my husband did, sunny side up, a little burned at the edges. He laughed like him, walked like him, even tilted his head the same way when he was thinking. Sometimes, I would find myself whispering Chris instead of Jemmy. The next morning, I was sitting alone in the kitchen, then my phone buzzed. It was an email notification from the lab. My hands started shaking so hard I almost dropped it. I stared at the screen, the words were blurring through my tears. Your DNA results are ready to view. The screen loaded slowly, my breath caught in my throat as the words appeared. Probability of maternity, 99.98%. Match confirmed. The phone slipped from my hands and hit the floor. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The room felt like it was spinning. I didn't believe my son was alive all these years, calling someone else mom. I pressed my hands over my mouth to stop the sobs from escaping, but they came anyway. All those years I spent lighting candles on his birthday, all those nights crying to God thinking he had taken him away but he was out there living and breathing. And my husband, he knew everything. When he came home that evening, I was waiting for him in the dark. No dinner, no smile, just silence. He paused in the doorway confused. Emma, what's wrong? My voice trembled. Where's my son? Where is Chris? His face went pale, and then he forced a tired smile. Emma, I don't know what you're talking about. You've been tired lately, not sleeping much. Maybe you're just confused, thinking too much about the past. I stared at him in disbelief. Confused? You think I'm confused? I grabbed my phone, unlocked it, and threw it on the table in front of him. The DNA result glowed on the screen. He didn't move, didn't even blink, just stared at the screen, then at me. For a long moment, he said nothing. The silence stretched so far it felt like time had stopped. Then his shoulders slumped. He looked down, his voice barely a whisper. Emma, please. Don't you dare call me that. Like nothing happened. Tears welled in his eyes, but I didn't care anymore. You lied to me. You let me bury a son who was never dead. He pressed his hands to his face. He said he had no choice, that he owed them money and they were going to kill him. He didn't know what else to do. They promised he'd go to a good family, that he'd have everything we couldn't give him. But you took everything from me. You think a good life replaces mother's arms. He broke down sobbing, the kind of crying that comes from guilt too deep to hide, but I didn't feel pity, only emptiness. You lived all these years beside me, every night when I cried for my baby and you stood there saying nothing. I changed, Emma. I tried to make it right. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid. Afraid of me. You should have been afraid of what you've become. I turned toward the door. He reached out, his voice breaking. Please don't tell him. You don't get to ask me that. Tomorrow I'll make sure my son knows everything. He deserves the truth, even if it destroys you. The silence was shattered by the sound of the front door opening. We both turned and then my heart stopped. It was him. It was Chris, my son. Before I could think, I ran toward him. Tears blurred my vision as I threw my arms around him. Chris, Chris. My voice trembled. Oh my God, Chris, it's really you. He stiffened for a second, surprised, then laughed softly. He was confused. What's going on? Why are you crying? Behind me, my husband stood frozen, pale as a ghost. I wiped my tears, my voice shaking. There's something you need to hear, sweetheart, but I need you to listen until the end, please.